Hey folks, Ray Terry here, host of About Your House, heard every Saturday morning on WBCN, that's 1660 AM, 94.7 FM, or FoxSportsRadioCharlotte.com. That's the best way. Just click the button at the bottom of the page. You can hear us anywhere on the planet, or download the free app, Fox Sports Charlotte app, free. Folks, every Saturday morning from 8 to 11, we give you great information. Well, we're going to do more than that. We're going to share knowledge with you how to use tools. One of my tremendous passions, put tools in schools. Well, Lord of mercy, with the pandemic, we've been quarantined at home. A lot going on, and the school year's back in focus. How in the world are we going to get in front of kids and interact with them? Put tools in their hands. Let them know of different career opportunities and other career pathways that give great purpose and happy to life. Yeah, we need to teach kids to be happy, and this is a great way. Okay, how are we going to do this? About Your House Radio YouTube channel. Put tools on YouTube, right? Well, today we're going to do our first video about finishing drywall. A lot of people think they know how to finish drywall, but I'm going to throw some knowledge at you that I've developed over my 50 years of hands-on experience and share with you. I've got all my products, all my tools and equipment and supplies, and that's most of the job right there. Be prepared. And I'm prepared. And I'm going to show you why I select the products I do and what good they do. And little shortcuts, tips that you need to know. If you want to learn? Tune in, where we're going to bring you various videos on electrical, plumbing, various tips for tasks around your house. Fix up, save the money, and most of all, have purpose. Do something. Feel a self-accomplishment. Help that self-esteem. I love finishing a job and getting it well done. We're going to start our task, but let me review some things, okay? Obviously, we've already got the drywall hung. We should have done a video on that, but we were hyperactive that day, ready to get it done, and we just plowed in. Anyway, let's go backwards a little bit. You know, to cut drywall, you need certain tools, right? A measuring tape, a pencil, a drywall square is beneficial, or you could use any straight edge, a 4-foot level. Works perfect. You just got to lay it down. You got to have a workspace. You know, we've got 12-foot boards here. They're a little heavier and a little more awkward to handle, but two people can handle it no problem. And we use screws. We use drywall screws on this, and screws are right here. Little grabbers. Actually, these are commercial screws. Somebody gave us a whole box, so we utilize them. They work fine. They're just made to bore self-tapping into metal studs in commercial applications. Okay, so then I recommend you have something to put all your garb in. Your tape measure, your pencil, screws. Screws. Nothing like having them on you when you're trying to screw them up, and the almighty screw gun. Okay, screw gun. It works perfectly. Then we got you cannot cut drywall, shouldn't cut drywall without a utility knife. Some people call it a box cutter, call it what you want, but you need one with a sharp blade. Sharp blades are very, very essential, okay? But you need to be careful. Safety first, always be careful. Okay, and to cut the holes in the drywall after you measure, mark, and do your due diligence, you're going to need something to cut those holes with. And this is a drywall keyhole saw. Call it what you want. We call it a drywall saw. And I cut all the holes here and penetrations with this right here after measure. Okay? So, these tools are essential. If you don't know what you need, how are you going to do it correctly? Okay? And YouTube offers a variety of videos, and you can pick the one that you kind of connect with best, and that's what I'd recommend. All right. I'm going to talk about what we've done and why I did a few things, okay? Well, one, they make varied tapes, over the seams here. And when you install drywall, you want to get your seams as tight as possible. These are pretty darn tight, okay? And taping, this is a self-adhesive fiberglass tape, okay? That's what I put on all this right here, your verticals and your horizontal. And if you'll notice on drywall too, there's a beveled edge on your horizontal joints. Or you can make these vertical joints if you just choose to hang it perpendicular. And remember, drywall is in 4-foot or 16-inch increments for a reason. Just a little food for thought here. Studs, drywall studs, your framing studs are 16 inches on center. Therefore, 3 times 16 is 48. There's your 48. So every 16 inches there's a stud, and 48 inches requires 3 studs, actually 3 bays. Okay, 4 studs. Okay, so the 4-foot increments work out perfectly with 16-inch center studs, whether it be 8-foot boards or 12-foot boards. Just a little tip there. Okay, so now on this, my joints, I talked about tape. You can use paper tape, but there's a 2-step process in using paper tape. You have to put a bed coat of mud, which we'll see here in just a little bit. I'm going to put a bed coat of mud on there, then I have to put the paper tape over the bed coat of mud, scrape the excess mud off, and just let that dry like that, okay? However, if I use this tape, not if, I did use it. I use this tape, it's kind of, eliminating one of the steps, the bed. I can just go straight over this and bed it down, let it dry, and come back and second coat it. And remember, you're going to apply no less than 3 coats to a good finish job, and sometimes more depending on how good you are. Okay? But that's the taping mechanism, and I'll show you more about that because we've got joints to tape down the walls to eliminate that crack. I'll explain that as well as we move into the operation of actually finishing the drywall. Okay, mud. Everybody's heard of drywall mud, right? You got this bucket here, which is light, which I like to use sometimes on the very finished coat, or point up. Point up is the last thing you do after you paint it. You paint it, you can see all the little imperfections then you can go back and point it up before you put your final coats of paint on. Okay? That's a good product for that. Or pre-mixed mud. Here's a 5-gallon bucket, everybody's saying mud. Call it drywall compound. Call it what you want, we call it mud, okay? This is pre-mixed. If you use this, it's going to take a minimum of 24, sometimes if it's humid, maybe longer to set up and get hard. I don't know if I want that. See, I've got only 5, 6 boards in here to finish. So if I use some shortcuts, I can about get this done in one day. And I'm going to show you those shortcuts. Here they are right here in these little bags, okay? You got 90 and 20 down below here. Let me pick it up. I don't know if you can see it. See, there's 20. See 20 written on the back. Okay, and there's 90. Now that number is the amount of minutes it takes for it to set up. This takes minimum 24 hours, right? Or if it's real hot, it might do it a little quicker, but it's going to take roughly a day. This right here, 90 minutes. Well, if I really want to speed it up, and it's not too much to get ahead of me, in other words, I can use it before it sets up, I could use 20. That's 20 minutes. It's going to get hard. 20 minutes. Wow. Okay, I use it 20 on a lot of patchwork. But for this job, what I choose to use on the first and second coat, I do believe is going to be this 90. I will mix it up. Now, one of the requirements on all drywall jobs is a bucket of water. A bucket of water and some terry cloth rags. I got my bucket of water and I got my terry cloth rags, okay? And why? I like to clean as I go and I like to keep it neat. That's always a policy. I don't care what kind of job you're doing, be it carpentry, electrical, plumbing. Keep a neat job site, okay? Now, let's talk about the Mac Daddy tools, okay? All right, these are my knives. Now, I've got several in here, and I'll explain why I've got them, and then I'm going to show you how to use them. This takes a lot of, I think it takes some skill and finesse. I've been finishing drywall for 50 years, and I've learned it pretty well. And you can always tell somebody that's good at drywall work at the end of the day, they don't have any drywall mud on them. We'll see how I do, okay? We'll see. However, these are very important tools, and a good drywall technician, craftsman, whatever you want to call them, skilled labor. There's varying ways to do it. You can use a hawk, which is nothing more than a platform with a handle on it. I've seen that used through the years. I prefer a mud pan, a good mud pan, not the cheap plastic ones. They're horrible. That's a stainless steel one. It lasts you forever. Take care of it. And notice how clean they are. Clean. It's very important you keep your drywall tools clean. Absolutely imperative. Always. A lot of people don't clean them, and then when you got to use it again, you got to go dig it all out and clean it. That's stupid. Anyway, keep it clean. All right, that's your mud pan. That's what I'm going to mix the mud in, this mud pan. Now you can use a mixer and a drill and a bucket if you want to. It's up to you. I prefer to just mix it in the pan. When I use it all, I mix a little more. In about an hour and a half, 90 minutes, it'll be hard. I can come back and second coat it. Right now, how am I going to apply it? I got 4 knives here. 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch. Okay? Now what's a 4-inch for? Getting in corners like this, and then you can do it. But I won't use that much. Now, I don't use a 4-inch often at all. I use a 6-inch and an 8 for my bed coats. When I come finish, if I need to, I'll use the 10. Okay? Notice the bevel joint here. Notice how it covers it right there. And you're going to cover it like this. The nails, all we're going to do is come across them, skim them, and take it off. The whole idea behind drywall finishing is not how much mud you can put on. How you can apply it where you don't have to sand it. That's finesse. That takes practice. But you can do it. And it doesn't have to require a lot of sanding. And it just, like I said, practice makes perfect. But it's not necessarily as hard as people make it out to be. And a lot of people don't like it because they're afraid of it. However, hopefully you'll get some tips today that on this video that are going to help you out. Okay, I'm going to get ready to shift a few things, get ready to mix my mud, and always remember, and I'm going to show you this on this, put the powder in the water. Always, water in the pan, powder in the water. Mix it up good. I've got my bag of 90, which is a powdered mix, okay? Remember what the 90's for. 90 minutes, meaning it's going to take 90 minutes to get hard. This costs around 10 bucks a bag, give or take $1, okay? And remember what I said, pail of water. We're going to put a little water in the pail here, okay? Now, see, here's the trick, is to make enough mud that you can use it all in a, relatively short period of time. At any rate, you don't want to overmix it because it's real hard. Just mix what you can do in a quick minute. I say quick, within the next 20 minutes or so. Okay, you can get it applied on the wall, which we're going to do. So what we're going to do here is put the powder into the water, always. Powder into the water. Okay, just lightly, because if you dump a big old clump in there, you're messed up. You got to mix it in. So I use my 6-inch knife to do the mixing, okay? No, it's not that bad, really. And we just toss it around here. And then you're going to get a little out, but the whole thing about drywall work is you try to be as neat as humanly possible. Now, and then we're going to get to applying this on the wall, on all the joints and down the corners. Something I want to mention right now too. I talked about earlier in the video about the different tapes and how I've used the fiberglass tape on the seams because that fiberglass tape has a self-adhesive. It's self-adhesive on the back and sticks to the walls. Well, in the corners, I like paper tape because you fold it and put it in the corner, and it just, to me, it just works better. Because when you cut in with the fiberglass, it tends to cut the fiberglass tape and doesn't do a good job. Okay. Now I'm gonna be careful because I don't want it too thick. You want this to be about the consistency of drywall mud, runny peanut butter kind of. And you'll find that it mixes better the thicker it gets. It just mixes a little better. So we're about getting there. Like I said, I'll put 2 coats today on this job, whereas if I used the bucket mud, I would have to come back again tomorrow and the next day because that's how long it takes to dry. Right now, you just tumble it around a little bit. Yeah, it can get on you. It can be messy. You want to be careful with it. Take your time. Be patient. And a lot of you are probably saying, why doesn't he do it this way? Why doesn't he do it that way? Well, I tell you what. When you do it the way you're comfortable with. you do it that way. And try various ways. Learn what works best for you. Hey folks, back to you. Got my mud pan mixed, got my mud, and I'm going to start here right in the corner, okay? And remember, let's move our shop vac. My shop vac will be used down the road a little bit. We'll just slide it over here out of the way. No problem. And what we're going to do here, you know, you're putting mud on one side of the blade here. One side of the blade. And watch what I do with it. Oh yeah. Let's do this. A little stepping stool. Some people might want to use a ladder. But I'm 6 foot and I can reach it. Alright, see, you put what we call that is laying a bed in here. See? See, once again, half the blade. See there? Then you go back and do the other side. See there? And all you're doing is get a bed to put your paper tape in. You'll see. However you do it. Notice I switched up right there. But you know, I'm going to tell you something. It's important, like I said, remember, it's not important that you put a lot of mud on. It's important that you put enough on, okay? I'm going to tear the label off. And if you'll notice with this paper tape, it's made to bend. Right there, it's got a little crease in it. And you can use it for that. There's another label. We want to rip that off. Excuse me. What you want to do is, don't pull 8 foot up, because that's how much you're going to need. But you don't have to be really precise with cutting it. You just tear it. What you want to do, you want to bend it like so. There you go, bend it. And you want to put it, well, let's do this. Yeah, put it right in there into the corner. And come down to where you stop, and we'll get off the tool here and finish it at the bottom. Work high, work low. See there? See how it just pops it right into the, let me get out of your way here. See there? Now you want to put pressure too on the back, on this side of the blade, you're going to put pressure on that side of the blade, because you're taking the mud off. And you want to take it off. See how smooth that looks? Very smooth. Now, in an hour and a half, I'm going to get that nail right there. So, excuse me, that screw. Whoops. See there? Pretty neat. All right? Move your stool. We'll get down here. Like I say, load the side of the blade on your upper stroke, put a bed in there, get that side. Now, another thing I want to share with you is some people have different taste in knives. And different, you know, like you may want to use an 8-inch for all of it. Whatever feels good to you. Just understand you've got different tools at your disposal. See there? Then you bend it, crease it, put it in the corner. Like I said, it's not how much mud you put on is how well you put it on and smooth. See that little ridge up this line there? You can't see it on camera probably. But you just want to rake that off. And there you go. Not a bad corner. Not a bad corner at all. Okay, that takes care of the inside corner. I only have one of those because I've only done 2 walls. So what I'm going to do is grab my 8-inch and I'm going to start putting the bed on the vertical joint here. And move my drywall square over here out of the way. There we go. And see here, I put mud in the center of my knife. Some trash on the rock there. What I do to clean that off is I use the end of my mud pan to do that. Now, what I'll do is come down each side, put pressure on the outer portion of my blade, and I'll come right back down the center, and there you go. See, it's pretty simple, pretty easy. That's not a hard thing to do. Okay, now, in the camera range here, I'm going to do these other 2 joints. We're going to go, and then I'm going to switch angles, and we're going to watch the rest of it as it goes on. See what I do now? I take it off. I put pressure on the bottom part of this blade and on the top part here. And I'm going to put me a little mud on the middle. Drag it over one more time because I want to be sure I get a good coat. And that I do. And then I'll go over it. Over it once more. Now, let me talk about these screws. You want to drive the screws up when you install your drywall just below the surface, and you just want to hit them like this. Since we're at the end of our mud pan here, what we'll do is hit the screws. I was vacillating right then to see about getting a 6-inch knife, you know. And notice I'm just putting it on there. This is the first coat. You're going to put 3 coats of this on. See, it's pretty easy to do. Drywall work's not difficult. Like anything, it takes preparation, equipment, little knowledge, know how to read a measuring tape, know how to use the proper tools. It's amazing what you can do with your hands and your mind. You just apply yourself. And think, and think. Think. That's something we're not taught in school. We're taught to follow. Follow rules. Obey. And that's a fact, Jack. So, and I'm going to come back with my stool a little later on and I'll show you. But see how that works? We'll have to drive that screw up a little bit there. And sometimes too, you have to come back and if you use nails, you have to come back and drive them up further. Not deep enough. All right, we'll do these. Take a different camera shot and finish it up. Not a bad start, really. Corner's looking good. That'll be set up in about an hour and a half. We'll come back and put another coat on there. Like I said, some jobs you can easily accomplish in one day. We could come back and paint this wall tomorrow, theoretically. Probably won't do it, but at any rate. All right, let me take a little adjustment here with the camera. We'll get back and finish the rest of the drywall. Okay, I'm ready to go in my other corner over here. Finish this one. I got one vertical joint, one horizontal joint, and the wall. Now, this is a drywall finish wall. So what I'm going to do is use the paper tape in this corner, just like I did over in that other corner. And what we're going to use is first, we're going to go with a 6-inch knife. 6-inch knife and paper tape. We're going to put a bed coat in the corner, just like we did on that other wall. And there again, you want to put it on the inside of your knife like that. There you go. And you can't see it, but this crack over here is good 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. So you want to put enough mud on that corner to get under the tape real well. And if you use paper tape, by the way, very important thing to note here. If you use paper tape instead of fiberglass tape on your first little bed coat, what you're going to have, if you don't get mud under it, you'll get bubbles. Uh-oh, just knocked off my tape. Sorry, I'll pick it up. You'll have bubbles under the tape, and the only way to fix that after you paint it is tear that out and redo it. And that's something you don't want to do. So therefore, I got plenty of mud. See, I stepped in my, see, prime example of what you don't do, right there. That's why I got my terry cloth rag. Great example. But I've got to be honest. Remember back when I started this whole project today, I talked about different products, a 20 and a 90 powder mix. The 90 is what we used originally, but I cheat now because I've got just a little bit to do here. I mixed a pan of 20, but I've got to get with it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and move ahead with it, and I'm not going to talk much. Those pencil marks are what we put up there for the studs so we could identify where they are so we could put the fasteners in. The whole idea, remember, I said it the whole time. The idea is not how much you can put on there to sand, but how little you can put on to do what you're doing. And that's making this paintable and very smooth. And notice how I'll swirl coming out of it like that. That's stuff you just learn with time. And like I say, my object is not to put more mud on. That's why you do 3 coats. This is the second coat. And every joint you got, you're going to put 3 coats on it. And remember what I've said all along. It's not how much mud you put on, it's how much you need to cover to give you a smooth wall and minimize sanding. But frankly, sanding is a mess. sometimes when you go across it, you can feel some rough spots and do what I just did and kind of takes care of them. Now, you know, if you've been following this video, you can see where I've used different products. Now I'm about to put 20 on it. Some of this has been second coated, some of it hasn't. But regardless of the second or third coat, it's all the same. And you know what? If you got plenty of time, a week, whatever, to finish your drywall, you can use bucket mud. Regular old mud out of the bucket. It's just you can do everything I've done in about 4 hours. I started this about 11:30 this morning. It's running on 5 o'clock right now. So you can do a lot of work in one day if you need to, but it's not necessary. I did this to show you your different options. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do some coating right now, and we'll fast forward and work through it. But I hope you've learned something. Different techniques, different products actually. But really, the whole trick to finishing drywall is tools and the feel. It's a matter of feeling it. It's like putting butter on a piece of toast. I mean, it really, you can feel it. And the mix. You gotta mix your mix right. And sometimes people like bucket mud because it's real creamy and smooth and it goes on, ooh. And it does, actually. So, I throw this at you. Now I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this drywall here. We're almost there, actually. So in the next video, YouTube video, we're gonna show you about sanding, but not necessarily sanding. You can use a sponge. I'll show you that stuff. Or the little Scotch-Brites, show you that. A lot of different little tricks. And that really cut time, save dust. Dust is messy. That's where drywall's really messy. The whole secret is to minimize sanding. Minimize sanding. All right, here we go. I've moved all my things around. I'm ready to put my third and final coat on, like I said. And remember, once again, you got different type products you could use for this, and I've showed you. And it minimizes time if you use the powder mix. Remember the tip, powder into the water when you mix it. Okay, but we're through with that on this particular job. At any rate, I decided for the third and final coat to use regular mud. I opened up a bucket here. I mixed up the water, and you won't see how creamy that is. Oh, that's good. I've already loaded my pan with mud. Now, I recommend putting the lid back over it. Something like trash might get in it, and nothing's more annoying than to be finishing drywall with trash in it. So I'm going to use my 8-inch knife for my third coat. I'm going to be needing my stool. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put a third coat on it. We're done almost. This is the easiest coat to put on. So we're going to knock this out, come back, review a little bit, and we'll be done with this video. And remember, folks, I host a radio show called About Your House. I've got 50 years of experience hands-on in the construction industry and trades. I want to give back. Put tools in schools. We need to put tools in kids' hands. Get them interacting with tools. Hey, it's problem solving. They've taken it out of schools. Folks, we need to put it back in. Give kids a different career pathway with purpose, and most of all, a way to be happy. Not everybody's geared for academia. Me? No way. Can't sit in the classroom that long. So let's put tools in schools. But in the meantime, as crazy as things are, let's put tools on YouTube. And we're doing that at About Your House Radio. This video, for example, down below there's a link. There's a subscription button. Push the subscription button. Like us. Subscribe and like us. I love that. I appreciate it. That's the way you can help me personally. Thank you. And I'm going to start finishing drywall. Shut up now. Okay? We're going to get at it. One more thing, lighting. Obviously I'm doing a video in here, so I've got a lot of light, but light is absolutely essential to do a good job finishing drywall. Remember that, lighting. I've been called somewhat of a perfectionist. One pan did the final coat on all this. Folks, that's the third coat. I hope you've got something out of this video. You know, here I am at the end of the day, 5 hours into this. This will set up in about 3, and tomorrow, day after, whenever I want to paint it, I'll paint it. Everything will be good and rosy. There's my 8-inch knife, and here I am at the end of the day. Not too bad, but a little too messy. And anyway, I pushed it, obviously, to do a video and teach you some tips about drywall. Stay tuned every Saturday morning. We talk home repair tips, electrical, plumbing, you name it, and a little about life. And crazy times we live, we can get together every Saturday morning to spread some love, spread some joy. Hopefully, inspire people to use their hands more and think more with their brains. We're lacking that in this country right now. We're not thinking, we're following. We need to think for ourselves. We need to use our intelligence. And I want you all to help me help kids interact and learn to use their hands with their brain. They're not teaching it in school anymore. Industry, the lack of labor's incredible. We're all shortfall in labor. What are we doing about it? Well, collectively, we can do something. If we just get together in our communities across this country, pull together and get in front of kids and engage them. Actually, what needs to be done is we need to change the government-run education system because it has dumbed us down incredibly. People don't like when I say that, but it's a fact. I'm sorry, it just is. And the kids aren't happy because I talk to them. Okay, I'm not going to get real preachy, but I want to give back. You can subscribe below to our YouTube channel right here. We'll have more videos. We'll have more fun. We'll teach. And teach you parents, teach kids. Let's put those in schools. Tune in every Saturday morning to About Your House, 8 to 11 a.m. on WBCN, 1660 a.m., 94.7 FM in the Charlotte metro area. However, you can listen to it anywhere on the planet on FoxSportsRadioCharlotte.com. That is FoxSportsRadioCharlotte.com, or download the free app, Fox Sports Charlotte. Folks, I'll talk to you every Saturday, and like I said, subscribe and like us, please. We'll talk to you real soon.